hit this multi-stream tab. It's got a, I don't know if you can see the chat box that I see.
I don't see anything.
Well, I can share. Hold on a minute. I can actually share my screen with you.
I'll be able to see it through the computer though.
Oh, okay.
Because that's how I'm going to mod.
I'm going to go ahead and go to my backup account so I can see me live on my main account.
I can see the chat on TikTok.
Where?
On TikTok, I can see the chat.
Oh, yeah.
And I can edit it. I can mod.
Oh, you can?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, look, there I am.
If I can.
Awesome. Hello, Brian, Fabian, Brooke. How are you guys doing? Hi, Kelly. Well, yeah, they can hear me.
They're saying I'm extremely loud, and I ain't even talking loud.
Well, let's see something here. Talk now.
Is that better, everyone?
It's quieter. How's everyone doing today? We're about to get started. I'm going to stop when the show starts, Kelly. Hi, Josh.
Am I still echoing, everyone?
I don't hear an echo for you. I can turn my mic down a little bit. All right, let's get started.
Yeah, it sounds with the echo. No, thank you.
Jill, I think your TikTok is interfering with your mic.
No, I have the TikTok got down the volume. I have echo cancellation on. I don't know. I changed the headset.
Is your volume all the way down on TikTok?
Yes, all the way. The only volume I'm using is here. Is that better?
I don't hear it now, so I don't hear it. I'm going to... Jill, just get out of TikTok and I'll watch it, since I think that's what's causing the echo.
No, I'm on a completely different device
It doesn't matter.
and no sound. It shouldn't pick up my mic. There's no sound on it. I am using headphones. I have my headphones in. Well, earpiece anyway.
Is Joe Boo a mod?
On which one?
TikTok.
I think so. Yes.
All right, let's get started. You know what I need? I need a picture of you.
Oh my God. Just use the one I'm using on here or something.
How you guys doing today? The stock market's down 1,400 points. That's great. That's great. She is on YouTube, Lorianne.
I'm assuming I'm still echoing.
I don't hear any echo, Jill. So Juju is ignoring the news. I don't blame you, Juju. I don't blame you at all. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you so much.
So I'm still echoing. It is not TikTok. Like I said. That's what they're saying anyway.
Well, I don't.
I checked it. I am absolutely echoing.
On where? On YouTube?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not on TikTok no more. Okay, I tried something and they can tell me if I'm still echoing. Never mind, I am. I checked it myself.
Story of our life. You get earbuds in, Jill?
I absolutely do.
Is your mic on your phone and your mic on your earbuds both?
No, I changed it.
Okay.
I changed it again. Someone's telling me to change the earpiece. To what? I was not on earpieces at first.
All right. Look at that.
Oh my God.
What?
Nothing. I'm just laughing.
Why? What are you laughing about? There you are.
I know, there I am.
Okay, Jill, if you want to just keep messing with that, I'm going to go ahead and start. Whatever you want to do.
Messing with what? The sound?
Whatever.
I can't do nothing for the sound.
Okay, then don't worry about it then. Dow is down 1,400 points. Oil down 475 to $67. Gas up $3.26. Natural gas up $4.10. RBOB down 17 cents. If that holds, gas prices will probably drop across the country a little bit in the coming days. I found this thing. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. And I'm going to drag this over here. So this came off of World Population Review. These are the actual tariffs that these other countries are charging us and not the tariffs that Donald Trump claims. These are the actual tariffs. You can see China's at 2.3%, not 67%. The EU at 1.4%, not 39%. Vietnam 1.2%, not 90%. Japan, what is that? 1%, not 4. Basically, they made up the whole thing, right? They just made up the whole thing. And we wonder why the markets are doing what they're doing today. Had he implemented actual reciprocal tariffs, we probably would not have seen this in the markets today. We wouldn't have seen it. We probably would have seen it drop a little bit in early trading, and then it would have recovered, because all of these tariffs are significantly lower than what our administration is claiming. So these numbers are on worldpopulationreview.com, and someone on TikTok actually made this graphic. I always get my camera backwards. Someone made this graphic, but I did verify these tariff numbers on worldpopulationreview.com. So this is correct. I did go check it because I saw it on a TikTok video and I was like, I don't know if that's right, but he put his source on there. And so I was able to go to worldpopulationreview.com and verify these numbers. This is what happens when you don't know what you're doing and you use ChatGTP to tell you what the tariffs are, and they give you a formula to calculate tariffs. There are no formulas that calculate a tariff. That's not a thing. Because you can't look at a trade deficit or a trade imbalance and derive what the tariff is from there, because the trade deficit or imbalance is based on the trade of goods, not the tariffs. Like you could have a perfectly even trade balance and there be a 20% tariff on one side. that can be made up through trade, right? So you cannot get to a tariff number by looking at trade imbalance. And that's what they did here. They plugged a ridiculous formula in here that ChatGTP told them to use and just dreamed up these tariff numbers. It's not a real thing. It's not. So this whole thing is based on a lie. This also tells us the fact that they did this. This also tells us that they had no idea what the tariffs were being implemented on us by countries around the world. The whole time they've been talking about this, talking about how unfair it was, they've had no data or no idea what the actual tariffs was because they put this together at the last minute using ChatGTP. Right? I got my elbows up shirt on today. One of my shirts that I have managed to not get a stain on. I'm going to move this back.
I wore mine yesterday. And I'm also a person who stains my shirts.
I'm going to try something else to fix your thing, Jill. I'm going to turn your volume down some more. And then I'll turn my volume up more. All right, Jill, talk.
I am talking.
Okay. Oh boy.
I think that might have worked.
You think so?
Possibly. No, it's back.
All right. Thank you guys so much for the gifts. How much oil do I figure the island penguins produce? It's got to be at least 1 million barrels a day. Those penguins, man, they're getting after it. Did I say chat GTP? I meant GPT. What is sour crude? Sour crude is crude oil that has a lot of sulfur in it. Yes, the penguins were overproducing. There's nothing cooler than penguins wearing hard hats and steel-toe boots. I just tell you that. Why is it that everything this administration does look like it was done by a fourth grader? Can they get anything right? Seriously?
They cannot.
No, they cannot. It just blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. What else is in the news today? Sent you a video of someone saying Canadian oil is sour and heavy, and we don't have a way to process it, so we sell it to Americans. The Dow is now down 1,600, so it's getting worse. I wondered today if, as the day went by, if it would improve or get worse. But we got towards closing, and it improved for a little bit, and then it got worse. Obviously, because Robert's saying it's down 1,600 points. That's not good. That's not good at all. I hope we don't see this again tomorrow, because if we get 2 days in a row of this, it's not going to be good. But Luke, yes, Canada does have heavy sour crude, but they also have light sweet crude. They have both, right? And they do send us their heavy sour crude. That is true. But they also produce light sweet crude. Jill, did you see the video I tagged you in?
I did not.
The video with Bob?
I've seen the video with Bob. I did.
I did today?
Yeah, it showed up on my FYP.
Oh, I tagged you in the comment section later because I forgot to tag you in the video.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sitting at the park, and I watch Bob's video, and I am laughing so hard that someone literally walked up to my pickup and asked me if I was okay.
Oh my God.
Like, someone walking through the park saw me and thought something was wrong with me, because I was like bent over. I was laughing so hard. And they came up and knocked on my window and kind of shocked me a little bit because I didn't see him coming. But it was, "Are you okay, man?" And I was like, "I'm fine." You got to know Bob. Like, if you knew Bob, you would understand. That's what I told him. Oh, boy. Bob is my arch nemesis. That's who Bob is. Wow, look at this chat. I got to go back through this chat and see. Eric, thank you so much for the super chat. Can you go over a little more the nuances of the oil prices, natural gas prices from the last video? Also, do oil prices usually fall in a recession? Absolutely, Eric. I'm glad I saw your thing here because it didn't pop up on my other screen. So the nuances between oil prices and natural gas prices. So what's going on right now is the natural gas market is really tight, right? We're low on supply. And a ton of the natural gas that we produce is actually what we call associated natural gas that comes from oil wells, not just natural gas wells. So we produce a lot of natural gas in Texas that is associated with oil production, right? So when you're in a really tight natural gas market and you have oil production declines, you also have natural gas production declines, right? So what that means is, as the price, if this crash that we're seeing today, if this continues and this starts impacting oil production, which oil production's already falling, especially in the Permian Basin, it's fallen by 250,000 barrels of oil a day in the last 3 months. As that oil production falls, so will that natural gas production that we get from the Permian Basin, and that will squeeze natural gas markets even tighter. So as oil prices fall and production falls, natural gas prices will actually increase dramatically. That's not always the case. That's just something we're seeing right now that's likely to happen. So, but yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, the Dow is actually doing better. The Nasdaq is getting really hammered today. It's getting really hammered. I think I'm actually going to get rid of this chat box because I have two of them and I don't need that one. All right. Thank you for the super chat, man. I hope that answered your question. If it didn't, let me know. I can speak further on it. There we go. Can OPEC increase output anymore? Where would they stop? OPEC could absolutely increase output more. So if some of you people didn't, these tariff rollouts came on the same day that OPEC started rolling back some of their prior production cuts. So we have this happening at the exact same time that OPEC is saying, hey, we're increasing production like we told you we would, except they're increasing production more than they said. They originally said 138,000 barrels a day. Now it's 411. Now the thing is, the reason it's 411 is because Kazakhstan is supposed to reduce production because they've been overproducing. So basically, they're trying to get Kazakhstan to stop overproducing, and the other OPEC plus nations were going to make up for what OPEC was overproducing. So this production increase is, as long as they can get Kazakhstan to, maintain their quotas and not overproduce, won't have a huge impact on the market. This is really tariff driven, and I do believe that this production increase that was already going to happen and the announcement that was made today, I believe that announcement was made to give Donald Trump an excuse for all of this happening, for these prices doing what they're doing, and to give him an outlet to say it's not tariffs. It's absolutely tariffs. It's absolutely tariffs. When more oil is produced, gas prices go down. So, first of all, that is not true. It is not true that gas prices go down when more oil is produced in the United States. When more oil is produced globally, and that brings oil prices down, then you can see gas prices fall. But increasing oil production in the United States does not lower gas prices. You have to increase oil production globally. And what we've seen historically is as we increase production, other nations simply cut their production to keep oil prices high, right? And that's why you can't drill your way into lower gas prices. You just can't, right? So why is it when the economy tanks, gas prices go down even if production is increased? Oil and gas prices will go down temporarily anytime there's economic uncertainty and a tanking economy because of market sentiment. It's not necessarily a function of the fundamentals of the market. And I'm not super concerned about oil prices falling today and all of that, because fundamentally the market's still somewhat undersupplied. And everything we've seen with oil price drops prior to now and even today is a byproduct of Donald Trump being in the office and all of the uncertainty that he brings with it. Fundamentally, the market's still fairly tight. So I think oil prices will recover unless the economy continues to collapse. Donald Trump came out today and said that, this was the end, that he's not doing anymore. And he did that like first thing this morning. And I think he was trying to blunt the impact on the markets. And it worked for a little bit, and then it stopped working because it's getting worse now. Do we hang on to our stocks or sell? I'm not an advisor. But listen, if you're still in at this point, you might as well ride it out. You don't lose money until you sell, right? So just keep it and trust that it'll come back. It always does. As a matter of fact, a lot of people are saying it's a good time to add money into the market. It may be, but I'm not going to give you advice on that. But I don't jump out of the market when these things happen. If I do anything, I add money to the market and try to buy some more cheap. But you don't lose money in the market unless you sell it, right? Unless you sell it now, that's when you lose your money. So I hate giving advice on stocks, but because I don't know your personal situation. But if you don't need the money, I wouldn't get out now when you've lost money already. So hi, Andrea, Eggy, Juju, John, Liz. Thank you for coming over from TikTok. Yes, dollar cost averaging. And also understand that if you hold stocks that pay decent dividends and you reinvest those dividends, you have it set up on a drip or something, your dividends are going to be acquiring more shares during this low period. Like you literally want lower prices at times if you're holding stocks long. It allows your dividends to acquire more shares if you're not investing more money. At the very least, your dividends acquire more shares. So, hi, Lucius. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you for the gifts. Day 3 in the van. Rent freedom. Are you living in a van down by the river? Eric, thank you so much for the super chat. Why would Trump team purposefully tank the global market? Is it a simple effort to devalue things to buy cheap stocks? It is. It's I don't know if that's why he's doing it, but the rich get extremely richer during these times. This is how they build their wealth. And that's just not something you can get around. All of the billionaires in this country grew their wealth exponentially during COVID. You got billions of dollars. You can buy into the market at a huge discount and you can just explode your wealth. And is that something they're doing on purpose? I have no idea, but it sure seems that way because they're lying about the tariffs these countries are charging us. They're claiming countries are charging us 90% tariffs when they don't even have any tariffs on us whatsoever. So it really looks like this market tanking it's certainly intentional. So why would they do it? Make a lot of money, right? Do gas prices usually fall during a recession? It depends on the type of recession and what's causing the recession. They always fall initially, but they're typically the first thing to come back. They recover very quickly because that demand still remains. People just don't stop driving because of a recession, right? So gas prices are typically the first things that recover whenever we have a downturn in the economy. They recover pretty quickly. So we'll see what happens here. Thank you so much, Eric. Yeah, I'm answering questions on another stream. I'm streaming on multiple platforms right now. Are we gonna start building Model Ts again? I can't hear you. Did you quit talking? NASDAQ down 1,100. Wow, that's really bad. Dow down 1,650. Talk now, Jill.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes. It booted your thing for some reason. I went in and fixed it.
Nice.
What were you saying?
You expect me to remember?
No, I really don't. You really don't remember?
It was when you were talking about if it was on purpose or not.
What do you think?
And I think it was on purpose. I think that he is doing it on purpose to make the rich off of poor people's backs.
Apple is down 9%. Gulfport Energy, which is an oil company out of Oklahoma City, it was down like $40 earlier. I haven't looked at it lately. Yeah, I agree with you, Jill. I just don't. I wish we could get someone on audio admitting it or something.
Me too. And Brewster, I don't move in pictures. And putting the camera on.
Yeah, that's a picture. You want me to use a different picture?
No, I don't think
I just grabbed the first one off your profile.
Yes, I figured that's what you did.
Hi, Rusty. Yeah, OPEC's kind of messing with us a little bit, but Cheniere Energy down 5.5%. Cheniere is a major LNG exporter. Isaac says major corporations will be able to do stock buybacks and no longer have to pay dividends. Well, not only that, Isaac, I don't know if you know this, Isaac, but a lot of these corporations, they make record profits. And when they announce these stock buybacks, they actually borrow the money to do it. They don't actually use their profits. They actually borrow the money to do it. Right now, Shell is one of the companies that's trying to figure out how to repay their debt from all of their stock buybacks because they borrowed money. Instead of using their profits, they actually borrowed the money. Yeah, I think oil will recover too. I think oil will recover. I don't think the production increases from OPEC, they will sort of blunt the recovery for sure, but I don't think they'll have a really bad impact on oil prices. Are there any plans to finish the Keystone XL? No, there's not. Not yet. Phillips 66 is down, what does that say? $13 today? Wow. Hi, Ryan. I bet, Ryan, you deal in markets. I bet you've had an interesting day. Thank you, Trish. Jill, is your tree still standing?
For now, yes.
For now.
The wind is still blowing like it's, I don't know, it's crazy.
Lorianne asks, the question is, what isn't down today? Natural gas isn't down today. And I did see some stocks that were actually performing well today, but I just saw their tickers, like their symbols, and I didn't know what they were. So I didn't bother to open them up and see what companies they were. Hi, Blue Max. I am a U.S. citizen, yes. Utilities is up. Food and beverage is up. Goodyear tires is up. What's unnerving is how little we are talking about, this is from JJ on YouTube. What's unnerving is how little we are talking about climate change, given there are fires, floods, tornadoes, all kinds of fresh hell on the go. So if that was part of the plan, it's working. In-house says beverages are up because we all need a stiff drink. That's a great point. Walmart is up. Yeah, I bet Walmart is up. I bet the dollar stores are up too. All of the cheap retail goes up when this stuff happens because people start buying more cheap stuff and less expensive stuff. So that's fair. That makes sense. Ryan is wondering what's going to happen tomorrow. Ryan, I hope it's not bad. I hope this isn't as bad as it looks. I'm trying to stay positive. Also tomorrow, the New York Fed GDP, it's not the GDP now. I think it's called the net now. Their latest GDP projection will come out tomorrow, so I'll be looking for that. The GDP now was still at negative 3.7 when I looked this morning. March job numbers released tomorrow. That's supposed to be pretty bad. If yeah, if the March job numbers are as bad as they may be, there's no telling what the market's going to look like tomorrow. Yep, Stellantis is laying off people. Whirlpool is laying. A lot of people are laying people off. Whirlpool's laying off, I think, 25% of their entire workforce. Yeah. And companies like Whirlpool, you know, I'm kind of old. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm very familiar with Whirlpool. A lot of my family worked at Whirlpool back in the day. Companies like Whirlpool, they do not do well in bad economies. Like they struggle very badly. They get rid of a lot of people. They close plants. So this could be really bad for companies such as Whirlpool and people in sort of the same place in the industry. Aluminum tariffs won't help appliances, right? Easter is on 420? Wow.
Yes, it is.
That's awesome.
Yes, and so is the rapture.
The rapture's on 422?
Yes, because we're all going to be, we're on TikTok too. We're all going to be up in the sky on that day.
I'm going to have to go outside. That way I don't hit my ceiling.
Right? Exactly. Well, that's why they're going to think the rapture is coming, because we're all going to be outside floating up.
Yeah.
You know, on 420, and they're going to be like, it's the rapture.
Exactly.
It is.
I got a concussion the last time because I was in the house and I kept bouncing off the wood beams in my ceiling. It's like, let me down so I can fucking go outside. God damn. Hi, Nadia. Thank you for the corn. You can't believe Americans voted for this. Well, I can. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't believe it the first time. I believed it this time. 85 degrees in eastern North Carolina. It's actually kind of cool and rainy where I live here in Oklahoma today. It's pretty nice, actually. How many raptures have we had, Jill? We've had quite a few lately.
had a lot of raptures. Yeah.
S&P going to close 5% down. That's a big number. Thank you all for the gifts. Man, I'm showing 134 people in here. That's not bad for us.
That's not bad at all.
It's pollen season. Do you have allergies, Jill?
I do. I'm actually allergic to my dog, which is horrible. So it's pollen. It's allergy season all year round for me.
Nadia, I can't reset my goal in here on TikTok. I'm going to have to set an unachievable goal tomorrow because I can't reset it through the software. Dow down 1627, NASDAQ down 1035. Wow. Thank you guys so much. Please continue to like the lives. It only shows 7 on the count for YouTube. That's showing me 134. Lorianne, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you have a question? Thank you, Lori. Trump said that Musk is leaving soon to tend to his business. That's a thing. I've actually got 3 different numbers for viewers on YouTube, so. Wow, thank you so much for the gifts. So Ryan, if you're still in here, Ryan, on YouTube, you know, you deal with the markets and stuff. If you wouldn't mind, do you guys that deal with markets every day, are y'all seeing anything tomorrow that's you think it's going to be down again? You think it's going to level out? What do you think, Ryan? Glad I didn't get a tattoo. Why is the Canadian dollar up? I don't know. I don't know why the Canadian dollar's up. Ryan, who works in markets, says they believe it's going to be down again tomorrow. They don't think anyone has enough confidence to buy the dip yet. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. Jill, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Hi, Raina, or Raina. Welcome to the live. Why is gold and silver dropping? I hadn't looked at gold and silver today. I didn't know it was dropping. That is kind of a surprise. If someone would have asked, I would have guessed it would be up today. Thank you for the super chat, Dying Breed. Just because you're doing something great and people searching for real facts can come to you for some real information. Thank you so much, Dying Breed. Smarty Pants says most of the drop was after hours and pre-market today. I think he's... Still going in and out. Yeah, it's... Beth says gold is climbing. Thank you for the gifts, Luke. I appreciate it. Showing 142 people on YouTube.
So I have 145 through the computer.
Hi, Boston Smalls. How are you?
A drop.
Yeah, I'm showing 145 now too.
Yeah, and then it takes a big drop to 130.
Yeah, YouTube's funny that way. It jumps up and down a lot. Boston Smalls, I want to thank you for sharing some of my content I posted on X. I appreciate that, man.
I completely forgot you were back on there.
Yeah.
That's usually all my Twitter is full view.
Yeah. When I got back on there, it didn't, man, I couldn't get any followers. It was tough. And then just in the last couple of days, it took off. I think I've picked up like 5,000 followers in the last couple of days. And that first month, I was still at like 200 or 300. Stacy, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. So I got off X, and it's difficult. It's difficult to build a following on YouTube, and I had a lot of followers on X when I left there, and I completely deleted everything. And So I'm using X to try to help to reach more people for my YouTube account. That's why I got back on there. And there's also a lot of oil and gas people on X that are non-political. And the way I have my stuff set up there, I don't see all the crazy stuff on X that everyone else does. I basically just see oil and gas content. So also on Skylight Social. If you haven't tried Skylight Social, I haven't used it that much, but it's actually pretty interesting. When you join Skylight Social, you use your Blue Sky sign in if you're on Blue Sky. And then you automatically get all of your followers from Blue Sky on your Skylight Social. And Skylight Social is just like TikTok. You know, it's the closest thing to TikTok I've seen so far. But whenever you post something on Skylight, it automatically posts it on Blue Sky too. So you're posting on multiple platforms at once. And like I said, I haven't used it a great deal, but it's pretty interesting. I think it's pretty cool. So it does not have a live feature, which I don't like. I should get back on MySpace.
If MySpace would come back, I would use it.
A few years ago, I was actually able to get back into my old MySpace account. And it was, most of the stuff was gone, but it was my account. Yeah, if you follow me on YouTube, you got to click that bell so you get all the notifications. A lot of people aren't getting all the notifications, and I guess you got to click on that little bell. Is that right, Jill? Or am I still confused about that?
Wait, for what?
On YouTube, do you have to click the bell to get all of my notifications?
Yeah, you have to click the bell and then hit all. You have to hit, you have to pick all, because there's all personalized, non and unsubscribe. You click on the bell and you hit all.
Yeah, the all bell, as Daria says. Because if you don't, you'll only get, I think, 3 max notifications in a day.
Yes. Because I get, like, right now I have 9+ notifications. And they are all you.
Today?
1 hour ago.
Wow.
One day ago, 1 day ago, 1 day ago. So I get them. Let me see how many I get. I still get 3 a day. They still do it. I just didn't look at them the other day, so that's why I got 9. But yeah, it's still 3 a day. But it's if you don't click all, you won't get any.
You're only getting 3 a day?
Yeah.
I thought you clicked all.
I did.
Oh.
Of course, I have all selected. But it still does it.
Mr. Global, can you explain why retaliatory tariffs don't work? Well, because it's not 1850 and there's not enough tariffs on the planet that we can implement to make us enough money for it to matter. And oh, by the way, we're paying those tariffs. That's coming out of our pocket. Now, the idea is that the tariffs will bring manufacturing back to the United States. But the problem is you cannot implement enough tariffs to justify the increase to produce goods in the United States. Like putting a 10 or 15 or 20% tariff on a country is not enough for those U.S. companies that are operating in those countries to come back to the United States. It's not, because they're not saving any money. And they also know that the tariffs won't last forever. So they're not going to spend billions of dollars moving back to the United States because Donald Trump's going to be president for however much longer. Like, they recognize this is all going to go away. They're not going to commit to those investments over the tariffs we currently have implemented. So this is just going to cost us a lot of money. It's a tax increase on us. It's going to pump more money into the Treasury, but I mean, what are they going to do with that? They're just going to hand out another tax cut and blow that money. So, and not to mention the fact these aren't retaliatory tariffs. If you saw the chart I put up earlier, these tariffs are anything but retaliatory. We're charging companies tariffs that are significantly higher. And I'll show the graphic again. These are the actual tariffs. These are the actual tariffs right here that these companies have placed on us, and it's not what the administration is saying. The administration claimed China has tariffs on us of 67%. That's not true. It's 2.3%. Claimed the EU had 39% tariffs. It's not. I believe that's 1.4%. Vietnam, they claimed Vietnam had 90% tariffs. It's 1.2%. They made up these numbers, and they're punishing these countries. And that's why the economy's doing the market's doing what it's doing today. If we had actually implemented reciprocal tariffs, we wouldn't have seen anything happen in the markets like we saw today. If we put a 2.3% tariff on China, that wouldn't have done anything, right? 2.3%, that's not anything. That's what a reciprocal tariff would actually look like. So they artificially inflated these tariffs by hundreds and hundreds, thousands of a percent in some cases, and then claim they were giving them a discount by cutting our tariffs in half. We're not giving them a discount. If you look at China at 2.3%, our tariffs on them is what, 34%? That's not reciprocal. These are not reciprocal tariffs in any way, shape, or form. In any way, shape, or form. It's not a thing. And I suspected, they said the word reciprocal so many times, and they're using that word to make it sound like it's not as bad as it's going to be. And you keep hearing conservatives on social media say, what's the big deal? These are just reciprocal. We're just charging them what they're charging us. It's not reciprocal in any way, shape, or form. But I was glad to see gave Canada and Mexico somewhat of a, anything that's in the USMCA still stays the same. So that's one thing that's better, I guess. But you know what I need to do? I need to look up where all this MAGA merchandise is made and see what kind of tariffs we've placed on that. I bet some of those hats are made in Vietnam. I bet some of them are made in Cambodia and Bangladesh and Taiwan. That'd be a good piece of content right there. And there's also no tariffs on oil and gas from anywhere around the world. But I don't know if the 10% tariffs on Canadian oil and natural gas are still in place. I haven't gotten a clear answer on that. Jill, are you back?
Are you there?
Yeah. It gives me a little notification for when it kicks you.
I don't know why. Like it kicked you. It didn't tell me. It looks like you were kicked because my screen just goes.
It could be an internet issue. So it kicks you and I don't know it, but when it lets you come back in, I get a notification that you're back. And that's when I see that, I click it and it brings you back in.
It is kind of like stormy here, maybe it's that. My internet's full, sure, it's working really well. But I don't know.
How high can Canadian oil go until it's not affordable to turn a profit? You mean how low? Bruiser. What do you mean? Why do the ladies need to stock up on their Duracells?
I can guess.
No, don't. I don't want to hear you talk about that, Jill.
Okay.
Makes me uncomfortable.
I just gotta say, buy rechargeable.
Makes me uncomfortable. Somebody else can talk about it. Well, I mean, you wouldn't want to hear me talk about that, would you? Exactly. See? I don't know Bruiser that well, so she can talk about it all day. Don't bother me. I mean, how high can the tariffs go? Well, I would need a calculator, but I mean, the tariffs on Canadian oil can probably go 25% or maybe a little more before it starts impacting the U.S. that much. Basically, you need a tariff high enough to make the purchase of the oil more expensive than the alternative, right? So if we would replace that oil with Saudi oil or maybe oil from Iraq or wherever, there would need to be a tariff in place that would cause WCS to then surpass the price of those oils as well. Probably around 25%, maybe as much as 30%, because there may be some tariffs on that oil as well at some time in the future. It just depends. Yeah, you could just do what Trump does and ask Chat GPT. I do have to say, WCS was $59.40, I think that says. I don't have my glasses on, so we'll call it $60. So a 10% tariff would make it $66 for U.S. buyers. You know, a 20% tariff would make it $12 more, so it would be $72. So not quite 25%, as I said. WCS at $60 today. That's climbed quite a bit, because the last time I looked, it was below 55. But those, you know, if they slapped a 20% tariff on it, it would likely drive the price of it down as well. So there's movement there both ways. Trump doesn't ask ChatGPT. He asks Caroline Levitt to ask ChatGPT. Probably so, yeah. I'm still confused with fentanyl tariff. Well, it's because it's a made-up thing. The fentanyl tariff is, you know, more fentanyl goes from the United States into Canada than travels from Canada into the United States. As a matter of fact, the total amount of fentanyl seized last year coming across the Canadian border was about enough to fill up a carry-on suitcase. I think it was about 40 pounds, which 40 pounds over an entire year crossing a border as long as the U.S.-Canadian border, that's like nothing. So this has nothing to do with fentanyl. It just doesn't. It adds to, you know, Trump has to sell these. He has to sell this idea of these tariffs, and fentanyl is a great way to do it, even though it's not really a thing. It's like marketing tariffs. He's using fentanyl to market the tariffs to make them sound better. Someone here says, yes, 40 to 50 pounds, 2,200 pounds across the Mexican border. So, thank you guys for the gifts. The name of the site with the tariffs, worldpopulationreview.com. Thank you, Corvette Girl. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's true. The fentanyl allowed them to declare the emergency, and that's something else I made a piece of content about last night. Was how we need to strip the executive office of their emergency powers, because they've gotten way out of hand. This actually started under the Bush administration. Presidents started using their emergency powers a lot more than they were supposed to, right? It's supposed to be something used very rarely, just in the case of an emergency. But one thing people learned over time is that, you know, if the president is able to just declare an emergency, then he has an enormous amount of power under those emergency powers. And so we have Donald Trump now in office, declared 6 national emergencies. which is funny because he hasn't declared an emergency, like an economic emergency for today. But he did actually declare an economic emergency to give him the power to implement these tariffs. He normally would not have the power to do this, except but for the emergency powers granted to the executive office, which have been expanded way too much. Because now we're at a place where a president can just declare anything an emergency, and it gives him all kinds of power to do whatever he wants. And you have a Congress that is not willing to stop that. And it's going to take Congress and a president that's, if you can't get 2/3 of Congress, you have to have a president that will agree to it to narrow those emergency powers. And what I think should happen is that the emergency powers in the executive branch should be spread evenly across the 3 branches of government. I think there should be, I think the Speaker of the House, the Senate Majority Leader, the President, and the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. I think all 4 of them should have to agree on an emergency being declared. And I think it has to be unanimous. And I think that's the best way to handle the emergency powers. It could be better ways to do it. That's just something I thought of. Hi, Something Wong. Congress needs to pull back on the tariffs. Well, they can't. You know, it passed, the Senate. It would still have to pass the House. And then Donald Trump would have to sign it. So the only way Congress can pull back on these tariffs is if they get 2/3 of the Congress to agree to do it. And they'll never do that. Is barrister in my live? Is that a thing? Jill, are you there?
I am.
Okay, just making sure. You've been kicked 2 or 3 times, so I'm just checking on you.
I can tell when I'm kicked, apparently, because the screen is black.
Ah,
You're gone.
well, since we're using your picture, I can't tell until I get the notification that you're back. Do you see value in having someone like yourself be an advisor for government on oil and gas? Well, they do have advisors. They're just very political. They're very political. One of the poll comments was one company would switch to quick drilling. What is quick drilling? I have never heard of quick drilling. I mean, it just, drilling takes however long it takes. I have never heard the term quick drilling. You ever heard that term, Jill?
No, I'm not.
I mean, we're already quick drilling. We're drilling pretty quick already. Stormy got to quit drilling.
God.
What?
You talk about me. And what I say.
I don't know that person. No, if you had said that, Jill, that wouldn't have made me uncomfortable.
So she did get a quick drilling with a mushroom.
Oh my God, I can never unsee that clip from that show she was on with those mushrooms. The little short stubby mushroom.
She had Trump with her on that show?
Huh?
Are you saying that she had Trump with her on that show?
No. Did you not see it?
I did not, but I was just assuming she had Trump with her since she said, you know.
So I think she was on Jimmy Kimmel, and the thing about it looking like a mushroom had gone public. So he pulls out like this tray that has a whole bunch of mushrooms on it, and they're all standing straight up. And some are little bitty, some are tall and skinny, some are fat, some are short, you know. And he's like, pick out the mushroom. She pointed to this little short, fat mushroom with like a big button on top of it and said, that's the one.
That's fucking funny.
It was hilarious. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. I'm pretty sure it was Jimmy Kimmel. That's something he would do. I don't think Jimmy Fallon would ever do that, but Jimmy Kimmel would for sure. So you'll have to Google that sometime, Jill.
I will.
It'll be easy to find. Like, it'll be the first thing that pops up. It was a really popular video. Holy cow. We got 100 kph winds. Beth is on Google right now. Yeah, I bet she is. Beth is watching it. Okay. Just saw your Bob video. Yeah, Bob had me rolling this morning. Oh my God.
So, Bob is actually losing his shit, it seems like.
Huh?
Like, it seems like Bob is losing his shit, but trying to stay calm, like, tells the people that it's okay, while he's not okay. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, he's definitely not okay.
Right, he's not. And you can see it and hear it in his voice. And he's like, everything is okay. Like he's trying to, he's a good, what are the people called that bring in other people in the call? Shit. Lost my brain. I can't remember what they're called.
but he's one of them, right? Like a little soldier for the cult. And he's bringing people in, and yet at the same time, he's like, this really fucking sucks.
Yeah. Man, my whistles are going off again.
I got you saying whistles.
I'm telling you, I don't know why, but ever since you said that, that's what I've been saying. And I'm really averse to change, so but somehow you did it.
I did. I did it.
That's what they call them around here.
They don't call them sirens.
Oh, I know.
I mean, if you look it up, it's called a siren.
Right.
But we don't call it that around here.
So, yeah, you travel around the country, people use different terminology for things, right? And so one time I was working up in Kansas, and I had this safety guy that was working for me, and they had rented him a house to stay in because he was from South Louisiana. And this guy, he was a fire chief at a volunteer fire department in his small town in Louisiana. We actually called him Chief. So we're in Kansas, it's springtime, and they have a volunteer fire department in this little town in Kansas, and they would have their sirens or whistles go off in the middle of the night if there was a fire or a tornado, and everyone would have to report to the fire station to go take care of whatever the emergency was. And his house was close to the fire station, and they had a siren or a whistle that night for a fire. This guy was so scared of tornadoes, he thought it was a tornado siren. And he stayed in his basement all night long, scared to death that it was a tornado. Well, he shows up to work the next day, and the guy obviously hadn't slept in a couple of days. And I was like, what's wrong, dude? And he was like, man, those tornado sirens went off last night. I was scared to death. I just stayed in the basement. I said, dude, that was a fire. There was clear skies. There was no storms last night. He didn't even know that it wasn't storming. I have met a lot of people from the state of Louisiana that are so scared of tornadoes. If you even just say the word tornado, they'll take off running, especially when they're in Oklahoma or Kansas, where we have a lot of tornadoes. But it was hilarious. Poor guy. He was so scared of snakes that I accidentally broke his phone. Well, he broke his phone, but I broke his phone, sort of. I sent him a picture of a snake. I texted him a picture of a snake. So I was fishing one night out at this pond, and I was sitting in this chair, and this snake slithered right between my feet. And which is not unusual, right? So when that happens, you just sit still and they move along, not a big deal. Well, I saw it, and I put my phone close to his head, and I took a picture of it as it was slithering between my feet. I sent it to David. That's the guy's name. I sent it to him, and when he opened up his phone, there was a face of a water moccasin staring at him, and it scared him so much that he threw his phone down and broke it. And then he wanted me to buy him a new phone.
Oh my God.
And you know what I told him, right?
You were buying him a new phone?
I said, that's not a thing, David. I'm not buying you a new phone. Yeah, I've been saying that's not a thing my whole life, and I just thought everyone said that, but apparently it took off on TikTok. So, Beth, did you see the Stormy video? Did you like it? Was it funny? So the sirens that we have, if it's for a fire, it's a repeating siren. Like it stops and it starts and stops, starts and stops. If it's a tornado siren, it's continuous. It just goes on for like 5 minutes. And that's how it works where I live anyway. That way the people know what they're dealing with. But if it's a clear sky, I mean, you know what to expect. Like if there's tornadoes coming, you know about that before the damn siren goes off. Long before the siren goes off.
I don't think we actually have, like I said, I looked it up. There is no actual weather siren for our area.
I don't know if that's an official, if that's just what we do locally because we live in Tornado Alley, or if that's like some official way to do it that some organization has come up with, but that's how we do it. One long sound for a tornado and repeating sounds for a fire. Hey, Will Westmoreland, how are you, sir? Will is in the chat. Will the tariffs on penguins lead to higher or lower gas prices? Well, I think we're going to see lower gas prices, but it won't have anything to do with the tariffs on penguins. Well, it does actually have something to do with the tariffs on penguins because people are freaking out so much that the wholesale price of gasoline has dropped a lot today, like 17 cents. So I gas hit 326 today. I don't think it's going to go up any higher in the short term. I think it's going to drop a little bit. And how far it drops or if it recovers depends on what we see tomorrow and the next day. But gas prices are about to drop. And I've told you guys for a long time that the only way Donald Trump could lower gas prices is by crashing the economy. We're about to find out how much, right? So gas prices will be dropping, assuming this continues. And I can't wait to see Republicans cheering the dropping gas prices.
Hello, Will.
Taxes on Pittsburgh will go up? I don't know what that means. Grain futures are falling through the floor.
Who's that?
Joe Boo.
Oh. I know what that means, Dad. He's messing with me.
Yeah. Always good to see Will in the live.
And Joe Boo says tornado signs are continuous and fire call sirens are 2 or 4 cycles.
Yeah. See? So it is in a lot of places because Joe Boo's not from Oklahoma and he was an emergency responder. So
Exactly.
I can't remember where he was doing that. Was it Minnesota or somewhere in the upper Midwest? And they do the same thing wherever Joe Boo was. So yeah.
The Pittsburgh Penguins, yes. Joe Boo. Yes, the taxes will go up on the Pittsburgh Penguins. You're right. Because them penguin taxes got to go up.
Our gas went up 30 cents a gallon for regular yesterday in Northeast Georgia. Well, they're about to drop. I'm telling you, their gas prices are about to drop. If gas prices don't drop, I will be bumfuzzled. Because the wholesale prices are down like I think 8% today. So and gas prices do closely follow those wholesale prices. And I'm talking about gas prices in the United States. So not for you folks in Canada. I mean, you're seeing your gas prices drop from the carbon tax going away. But busy news day. I did not have any trouble making content today. Did Wakanda get tariffs? I don't know about Wakanda. What drove up the price this past week? We're getting summer blend at all the stations. That drove up the price. The price always jumps a lot right after spring break. So that drove up the price. The economy will drive down the price. Mr. G, is homeowners insurance an issue where you live, like in Florida, where they just drop you or don't pay you when your house is destroyed? They're not dropping people, but homeowners insurance is rising. The rates are rising. They have been for quite a few years, but they're getting pretty crazy in Oklahoma with all the storm damage and everything and the claims they've been paying out. I bought this house, I think, 8 years ago. My homeowner's insurance is about 3 times now what it was when I first purchased this house. The Marvel universe was tariffed? That's possible. Heck, they might have put tariffs on Jill for all I know. Did you get any tariffs slapped on you, Jill?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not for sale though.
Right? Well, I wasn't saying that.
No, I was. Can you put tariffs on something that's not for sale?
Well, they put tariffs on people overseas all the time. On businessmen and, they,
I'm not a businessman.
or not tariffs, sanctions. They've put sanctions. I got that backwards. They put sanctions on people all the time. Businessmen overseas, oligarchs, not tariffs, sanctions.
Maybe they put a sanction on me because they didn't put the tariff on me. Not for sale.
My homeowner's insurance is, I think it's close to $6,000 a year, I think, right now. And I don't know how that compares to the rest of the country, but that's pretty high for Oklahoma. So one thing that they recently got caught doing in my state is, so the county assesses your property tax, right? And they reassess it every single year. And so what they started doing in the last few years is taking satellite images of your house. Instead of going off the historical tax records, they started taking satellite images of people's homes to determine the square footage of the house. And then where I live, your property taxes are largely based on the square footage of the property. The problem with that is all of the eaves and overhangs off your roof. And so on a larger home, you can easily have 600 or 800 square feet added to your house just from the eaves and the overhangs on the roof. So they're overcharging people for square footage. And then what, and nobody knew this was happening. And then what happens is someone goes and tries to sell that house. An appraiser comes in and looks at the square footage and sees that it's actually 500 or 600 square foot smaller than what's listed on the tax records. And then the house doesn't appraise for the asking price because it's not as big as it's supposed to be. And that's something that we're dealing with right now in our state. It is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Because when a home is purchased, its square footage is actually measured the way it's supposed to be measured, and it goes into the tax records. And unless there's an addition on the house, which is a permitted activity, you have to get a permit, and then that has to be filed with the county assessor. So if nothing's been added onto the house, the square footage shouldn't change unless you have space in the house that like say it doesn't have central heat and air going to a certain room in the house, then that square footage is less valuable. And so that value can change a little bit. But you can't take a picture of a roof and determine the square footage of a house. You can only determine the square footage of the roof, which is not the same as the square footage of a house. Yeah, it's very stupid. I just got a quote for my new home for $578. Wow. Well, we have really bad hailstorms and tornadoes and high winds, so we have a lot of property damage, and because of that, our homeowners insurance rates have gone up quite a bit. Are you there, Jill?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't go nowhere.
And we're also in the real estate business, and like twice in the last couple of weeks, we've had homes that didn't appraise because of discrepancies in square footage. I'm in Oklahoma. Slaughter continues after hours. Oh, great. Let's go look. That can't be right. Oh man, down 1,827. You think Bob is shitting his pants, Jill?
Bob is 100% shitting his pants.
Well, he might as well. He always has that look on his face like he's doing it anyway.
I can't wait to see the next video. He's probably going to be crying while he's doing it. You know, trying to hide the crying. He'll be like,
People, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. He said that we will be in some rough times before it gets better. It's coming, people.
Oh my.
Yes, that's what he's gonna be doing.
Sometimes he just goes blank and like stares off into space in the middle of his video. And he's just like, I'm just like, what are you doing, Bob?
Oh my God.
Thank you so much for the gift, QX. I appreciate it. Thank you. What is Bob's handle? On TikTok, it's Bob the Fish.
Yes, Bob the Fish.
And I've actually found Bob online, but I'm not going to share any of his personal information. But if I ever need to, I can, because he's gotten a little too frisky with me lately. So if he keeps pushing me, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I know who Bob is. I know who his neighbors are. I know all kinds of stuff about Bob. You like that, Jill?
Yes.
I know you do. Sounds like something you would do. So I'm gonna go find out who this motherfucker is.
I have done it many times.
All things considered so far this year, are you bullish or bearish on investing in working interest in oil and gas wells in the Permian? Certainly not bullish. I would, unless you're getting a steal, I would personally, I would still steer clear of investing in wells right now. Ooh. I mean, I've done it a lot, but I've done it at the right time, and I would not even consider it right now. It wouldn't even cross my mind. But that's just me. Stellantis is blaming the tariffs for their shutdown. They are severely overstocked. That's a European company, right? Yeah, Stellantis is European. So that, I mean, that kind of tracks, that they're doing that. Cars have been sitting on lots for a long time. People take shows like Landman as fact. We don't do that for the fall guy. Exactly. Yeah, I knew Stellantis owned Dodge, but I was trying to confirm they were actually a European company, which makes sense that they would blame the tariffs for their layoffs. I mean, I'm not saying they helped, but I don't think you make a layoff announcement on the day something occurs and blame it on that thing. It's probably a lot of things that's happened over time. I know that Dodge has struggled quite a bit in the last couple of years, so. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's time to wrap it up. If you're on TikTok, t-shirts, link in the bio for That's Not a Thing t-shirts. I appreciate all of your support today from both platforms, on TikTok and YouTube both. Thank you for the super chats and the gifts. We really appreciate it. Jill, what do you have?
Thank you for everyone for coming in. And also, I wanted to say real quick, last night somebody called Doge Dodge. And we were talking about Dodge, right?
Uh-huh.
So, Dodge Ram, here we go.
Here we go. I am sure tomorrow will be just as fascinating as today based on the after hours trading. So the crash continues as of right now. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.